Good morning. It's Monday morning. I don't know what it is, 11th or 12th or something like that. Duke's feeling good today. Thought he was feeling a little gimpy, but he's perked right up. So say good morning, Duke. Going to have a slight change of format today. We're going to be dramatically improving our production values. I've got some videos I'm editing in where I had my daughter hold the phone. Got a question on this. I'm trying to decide what I want to do. Stock voltage regulator or the Boyer-Brandsen Power Box. I bought this thing because I thought it's nice because it's small and compact and I can kind of hide it. This thing really isn't that much bigger, though. And my plan, as we've talked about before, is to mount whichever one. I'm going to put it right back here. And I get that the stock voltage regulator sits right up front in the wind for a reason, to keep it cool. I'm thinking I'm not going to have a problem with cooling. If nothing else, because it's not going to be doing anything. The only electrical stuff on the finished bike is going to be the headlight and the tail light, basically. That's it. So the question is, this thing apparently is essentially a voltage regulator with a built-in capacitor, so you don't have to worry about flickering and stuff at low RPM. I could run this just as is and just leave it at that. I could run this and add a capacitor to it, which would solve the flickering problem. But now I've got not only this thing, but the capacitor. And the reason this is a little bit of an issue is I'm getting ready to send all my stuff off to get water jetted. And part of that is going to be the bracket that gets welded to the frame to hold whichever one of these things we decide on. So that's the question of the day. What I think I'm going to do for now is I'm going to go ahead and have them water jet out, one for each, and essentially push the problem downstream, and we'll see which one. I don't know. Shoot me a comment if you've got an opinion on this. I'd love to hear it. I kind of love this idea of this thing. It just seems pretty cool, but at the same time, I really don't even know if it's going to work, and I'd rather find out now rather than later. So if you've got an opinion, by all means, do share it with me. I spent the last few days getting ready for waterjet, so here's me talking about that process and getting ready mainly to make the top engine mount. All right, so if you remember the other day, we were talking about this is the stock top motor mount, and the geometry of the stock one isn't quite right. So what I've done here is I made this thing just out of some chipboard, kind of got it rough, measured it up, drew all that up in Fusion 360 to get an idea of what we're doing. Then we printed out the pieces and glued it to this foam core board, and the whole setup is going to end up going like this. So you've got, this will be one piece. We're going to weld this on, and then there's some flanges, braces that'll weld up. So when it's all said and done, that's kind of where we're heading. So where we're at right now is we printed these out just on regular paper, glued it to the foam core, cut it out. I only tried to cut the curves that I think I need to have them cut, because now what we're going to do is, now that we have this, we're actually going to test fit this on the bike, make sure all the geometry is correct. And if it is, then we send the model off and get all these pieces cut out of some probably 1/8 inch thick steel. So that's the update for that side of it. Okay, so here we go. We're mocking this up on the bike, and looks like we're pretty close. The only thing I'm noticing here is this side, this edge right here is about 3/16 of an inch farther back than it needs to be. This will go like that in there, and I'll probably end up taking about, I don't know, maybe a 1/4 inch off the top of that. I don't think that needs to go up quite that high. But that looks like that should fit okay. And then obviously our little support brackets are going to be, that's going to be fine. So I think this is a win. The only thing, I said, I'd see a little adjustment here. We're going to bring this edge in a little bit. I have a ton of room right here on this radius. I might beef that up a little bit just because why not? I mean, may as well add some structure while we have the chance. The spacing between the holes, I think, is about a 32nd of an inch too close. I'll push those out just a little bit. But otherwise, I think our parts are pretty much ready to get sent off to waterjet. So there's the update. And then here's another update. So what I decided to do was to go ahead and update the Fusion 360 model, print out another set, glue them to another batch of the board, and then mock it up again. And here's the final version. It's pretty much the same as what we did before. The only thing you'll notice, I mean, I made the adjustments that I talked about in the earlier video. I also decided to make these braces a little longer. That way I can put a little bend in them and extend it kind of, towards the front and the back on these arms, which will give those sections a little more strength. So I think that's pretty much it. I've got a couple other parts I want to double check, but I think other than that, we're ready to go off to waterjet, and we will get a bike put together. Update soon.